Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hello. How is everybody?
Very well, thank you, Yeti. How are you today?
Good. Getting ready, so I'm trying my best.
That's the spirit. I know you'll be nervous. Everybody's nervous. Well, I still get nervous even when I'm standing on stage in, Washington or Virginia. When I'm going to start talking, I'm always nervous. So it's not something you can ever get rid of. It's something that you can diminish and use, though.
Oh, thank you, but you are expert, so we will not compare with you. Neve, I love your background, beautiful flower plants.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a Zoom background.
Oh, okay. Hi,
Yeah.
Shannon.
Nice. Hello, Shannon. Good to see you.
Morning.
Good morning, good evening.
And what's the weather like where you are at the moment, Yeti?
A lot better, 60, a little windy, but a lot better.
Oh, that's
Getting
good.
better, yes, spring. How about you
Nice.
guys?
It's a little chilly today here, but not chilly like it gets where you are, but chilly enough for us.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody ready to rock and roll today?
Shannon, are you ready?
Shannon would rather be staked out over an anthill and have bamboo shoots shoved under her fingernails than speak in public, wouldn't you, Shan?
Pretty much it.
Yes. That's her current state. But I'm guaranteeing that she will have the opportunity to embrace the experience. I
Wonderful.
believe in it, Shannon, even if you don't.
I want to be on board with that, but
So speaking of which, in the next few sessions after our break, which we're coming up to, I'm going to ask people like Shannon and Caitlin, who will be doing sessions at the EFC Summit, to start preparing and rehearsing those things. So you've got the opportunity to be able to practice before you get into the point of actually delivering it. So there'll be things like housekeeping, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's really a matter
just a
of,
little bit, isn't it? Just a tiny, like
10,
there's the
20 minutes.
bathrooms.
Yeah.
No.
There are a couple of other little things that we're going to ask you and Caitlin to do. I will just wait, she's just coming in now, so I'll share that with her so I can see both of your expressions at the same time. The joy that's going to overcome you, the excitement, the thrill, all of those things are about to occur.
When is you guys summit coming up?
25th and 26th of July.
I
Whoa.
think it's cancelled.
It better not be for the amount of work I've put into it today. I had to look at all these bloody quotes from venues. It better not be cancelled.
Hello, Caitlin. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to share with you, Caitlin, what I was just sharing with Shannon. Today we're going to do our session based on our hobby, and then after the holidays we're actually going to start to rehearse, and I've done this with Erin and a few other people, and it's been really successful, where you actually rehearse where you're going to speak. So because we have opportunities for you and Shannon to speak at the upcoming EFC Summit, we will be able to rehearse that with you, and as that was the expression I was after. So what that will look like stabbing in the back in the middle of the night. What that will look like, and Kimberly is in that same position. Welcome, Kimberly. What that will look like in terms of rehearsing for the event will be, doing the housekeeping announcements or doing the round table announcements, those kinds of things. Just little things that'll be like a few minutes, but I want you to rehearse them and be really comfortable with them so that by the time you get to the event, all you need to do then is just to manage your state. You don't have to worry about trying to remember it because you'll be really confident. Okay? Nod with me. That's the way. Yes. Now, this is how I started. When I first started getting really serious about speaking in public, I was thrown on stage and asked to MC an event, which was a little bit of a shock. And then that was like with no preparation. And then I started to get, the second time it happened, I started to think, oh gosh, I better do some preparation. Quite similar story to how I started teaching in martial arts, actually, because I was a student in martial arts, purple belt, so not even anywhere near a black belt. I think it was about 5th Q. And the master instructor asked me to come and support her in a class of children, 3 to 5-year-olds. I was like, yep, I'll do that. So I turn up for the class. She turns up 10 minutes late. So for 10 minutes, I'm suddenly teaching this class, which might not seem like much until you're surrounded by 3 to 5-year-olds, then it's a lot. Second time I came to help her and watch the class, she didn't turn up at all. The third time she didn't turn up, I was like, oh, this is my class now, isn't it? I better start doing some preparation. So I'm going to be much nicer to you guys and give you the opportunity to prepare and practice so that when you do have to do the performance part, you're very confident and comfortable. Okay? So today we're going to have some conversations with those people who we didn't hear from last week. So is there anyone who would like, who are we actually hearing from today? Yeti, Shannon, Caitlin, Kimberly, did we hear from you last time? No. Okay, so we'll see who we get through today. Does anyone want to volunteer to go first?
I can go because
I
let's
was
see.
going to put money on the fact that would have been Shannon. See what that been done with? All right, so remember what we're doing, Yeti. You're going to just share your 3 key points and you're going to do it in less than 3 minutes. So what you're going to do is to tell us the name of your topic.
Okay.
And then
Good
you're going to
evening.
give us 3 key points. But before we do that, we're going to start practicing a really valuable skill. This is what I do every time before I have to speak on camera or on stage. There are 2 things that I do. One thing that I do when people can't see me because it looks a bit weird. Second thing I do when people can see me in case I'm, you know, on the wings on a stage or whatever. So we're all going to do this together. So everyone's going to stand up. Doesn't matter what your camera looks like. You're just going to stand up. And you want you to shake your wrists out. Make your wrists all really floppy. And then raise your arms up like you got some sort of mad wing thing going on, all the way up. Oh, there's a fan up there, just be mindful. And all the way down again. Shake it and shake your whole body and really make your butt wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. And everything put down on your feet. And big breath, hands up high. And let it out. Everybody got that? One more time. And what we're doing, don't sit down, Caitlin. What we're doing here is getting rid of all of the stress hormones, the cortisol, the adrenaline. And strangely speaking, ass shaking is a really powerful way of doing that. So starting again, hands out. Hi, Aaron. Jump up with us, Aaron. We're shaking. So hands all the way up. Shake them out, bring them down, shake, 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 wiggle your bottom, shake it as much as you can. Pretend you've got a huge booty. And on the spot. And hands up. And breathe out. Awesome. That is how we get rid of all of that cortisol and adrenaline, which is flooding our bloodstreams right before we have to talk. Yeti, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You are
Okay.
ready. So announce your topic and then start your 3 key points and go.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My topic is going to be about hiking. So it's 3 points that I have, which is, the benefits of hiking, the 3 points for physical health, mental health, and spiritual connection. Physical health. Hiking can reduce the risk of lots of issues, which I will not go into detail because it will never end at this event, at this speaking event. Science and lots of other research and studies have proven it. Hiking can boost strength and flexibility. Enjoying nature is our birthright. It does not cost a dime to go out and hike, take a breath, fresh air for well-being. Mental health. Hiking can help reduce stress, improve our well-being and mental clarity. For example, hiking can reduce anxiety, stress, frustration, and helps us to feel good. We all understand that in today's world, mental breakdown, suicidal, and lots of crisis has taken a toll on humanity in general. In every walk in nature, one can receive far more happiness and feeling a lot better. Okay, third one, spiritual connection. Hiking helps to connect with nature and find inner peace. For example, a kind of meditation that helps the mind, body, and spirit to connect in a deeper spiritual way. That clears way into enjoying hiking in the deep nature in the wilderness. So tonight, before closing, I would love to thank everyone for supporting me and encouraging me and lifting me up, especially Danielle. You've been very influencer and inspiring teacher. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Awesome. Good job, Yeti. Your first one done. Let's give her a big round of applause. Congratulations. Great job.
Right.
And I know you were super nervous, so you did really well just keeping going.
Yes, I wasn't a lot
Excellent.
nervous. Okay.
So what we're going to do now is we're each going to go around, and I'd like every person to unmute themselves and just share with Yeti one piece of feedback for her about something that you really enjoyed about her talk or admired about her talk. So let's start with Kimberly and then go to Erin. So Kimberly, what do you have to share with Yeti that you liked or admired about her talk?
I really liked the energy that you brought. It was excellent. And
Great.
at the start, I didn't think you were that confident before when we were talking, but that was just, yeah, the energy was really high. Good job.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Kimberly. We'll go to Erin, then Caitlin. So Erin, what did you find that you enjoyed or admired about Yeti's little talk there?
Obviously energy was really good. As well as I thought that Yeti sort of transitioned between sort of looking at notes and looking at the camera. I thought she did well considering the
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. You're a little hard to hear there, but I think what you said was you'd liked her mix between camera and reading. Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Caitlin and then Shannon. So Caitlin, what did you enjoy about Yeti's talk?
I loved that as it went on, she got more confident in herself as she was going. And I also loved that there was facts in there that I didn't know.
Thank you.
You guys have been fantastic finders. And what I love about this exercise is when you start clinically assessing somebody else's speaking style, you find things that you can improve in your own style. And it's really powerful. The person doing the talking in these exercises is about 50% of the benefit. The other 50% is our ability to identify what it is that makes a talk really powerful. Thank you. Shannon and then Neve. So Shannon, what did you enjoy about Yeti's talk today?
I enjoyed the content because I don't know hiking at all, and it was really interesting to listen to. And I thought I admired that you could look up at the camera because, yeah, I think that's brave.
Nice. Thank you, Shan.
Mm-hmm.
Neve, what did you enjoy about Yeti's talk today?
I really like how she greeted us at the start and then thanked us at the end, as well as the hand movements that she did. And I found that her pace was really easy to follow. It wasn't too slow, but it wasn't too fast. I could sort of understand what she was saying quite well.
Thank you. I thought I was too fast. Thank you.
No, you were good.
Thank you. Yeti, great work. I had the same feedback. Great eye contact with the camera. And I have two pieces of feedback for you, suggestions. I actually think you need to speak a little slower. I feel that I struggled a little bit to hear some of the words, so I would suggest that you slow down a little bit
Okay.
or leave a pause where there's a full stop in your notes.
Oh,
Okay. The
I
other
felt-
thing is,
Mm.
this is a bit more advanced, Yeti, and I know it'll be different when you talk to people about other topics. But what I kind of got from that talk was a list of facts.
Mm.
Now, if you remember back to when Neve did her talk, she wove a little story in there. She started with, when I was a child, I had ants. And I
Mhm.
understand. So I think you could weave a story in there and make it a little bit more personal.
Mm.
You know, say why you like going on walks, you know, why you like going on hikes. You know, I love going on hikes, not just because it was a bit distant. You were distant from your content. So if you make your content about, I have found, and this is for everybody too. So like when Erin did her talk, she was talking about her experiences with codependency. And when you talk about your own experiences, you have this inbuilt authority because nobody can say that's not true because it's your experience. So it's a way of overcoming imposter syndrome and self-doubt. So if you say, I have found that hiking really helps me with my mental health. You know, I can go out on a hike and I can be really stressed about, you know, work or my partner or the economy. And then I get out into nature and I just take a breath and I relax. See that what I'm doing there? I'm making it about you, me. I'm making it my experience. Does that make sense, Yeti?
It's true. I was going to do that because I did the 3 marathon here in DC. And growing up, I was always a runner, hiker. And then
Yep.
I presented my team. I thought it would be too much, but I'm glad that you said that. Okay.
So
Thank
remember, if
Mm.
it's not, it's a talk,
Mm.
if it's not personal, you may as well just email the information to somebody else.
Okay.
What
Thank you.
makes the difference is that it's about your experience and you're sharing your emotion. That's what you get out of a talk instead of out of an email.
Mm.
Okay. So just start weaving a few little stories in there, Yeti. So it's a great foundation. Well done.
And thank you.
All right.
Mm.
Caitlin's face hurts from giggling. Why are you giggling, Caitlin?
Mm.
No, when we were shaking it out.
Shaking. Yes. Excellent. All right. So who would like to go next?
Fine.
You're muted. Why don't you shake it a little? Shake, shake, shake. Now, you guys might know, I'm going to give Caitlin a second to stand up and shake. Make sure your butt wiggles, because the butt wiggle, I know this sounds stupid, but when I did a 4-day overnight UPW with Tony Robbins, the butt wiggle, right? You did that too, Erin, right? The Joseph McLennan III did this ass shake, and I was like, can't possibly change your state. But if you smile, everyone smile with me, teeth, that's the way, and you shake your butt, it changes your physiology and your state. So those two things, smile and shake your butt, they'll make a big difference to your nerves. And Caitlin, you ready to rock and roll?
No.
And
Yeah.
wait for it. Let me just get my timer. Don't forget to announce your topic name before we start. And then your 3 points. So ready? And go.
So today I will be talking about how to use Rugby Explorer to manage a rugby team. So good morning, everyone. Today I would like to briefly talk to you about how we can manage our rugby team effectively using Rugby Explorer. This platform isn't just a formality, it's actually a powerful tool that helps you run the team smoothly, stay organized, and ultimately create a better experience for our players. When I first started, I thought it was just going to be another admin app. But once I got the hang of it, I realized it actually makes things a lot easier for all of us, managers, coaches, players, and even the parents. First, it's important to master the admin basics. That means knowing how to register players and staff, submit team sheets, and input match results and stats. These might sound like basic small tasks, but getting them right ensures we're compliant, eligible, and ready to come game day. A few minutes of attention here saves us hours of stress later. Second, we've got to use Rugby Explorer for what it does best, communication. Whether it's updating players and parents about training changes, sharing schedules, or receiving information from the club or competition organisers. The app makes sure everybody is on the same page. When communication is clear, the team runs smoother and expectations are clear. And finally, let's make the most out of the data. Rugby Explorer allows us to track things like player attendance, match stats, and injuries. This isn't just for record keeping, it's fuel for smarter coaching. And we can use this data to guide training sessions, support player development, and monitor team progress across the season. Thank you all for listening.
Nice. Good job, Caitlin. Woohoo. Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to get back the other way with one thing that you really enjoyed about Caitlin's talk. Neve, then Shannon. So Neve, what did you enjoy about Caitlin's talk?
I really liked how she explained why Rugby Explorer was so important and beneficial to the people listening, rather than just stating facts like what it is and what it can do, but made it sort of like it tied in more to who she's talking to and making it more important for them to use it rather than just stating facts.
Cool. Thank you. Shannon and then Erin. So Shannon, what did you find most, that you enjoyed the most from Caitlin's talk today?
That was so good, Caitlin. I thought your body language was really good because you're expressive with your hands, and I thought that was really good. And also your voice, you were really nice and clear, and I understood every word. So yay you.
Oh, nice feedback. Erin and then Jared.
Yeah, I thought that it was a good tempo. I found it easy to understand and listen to. So her voice is quite clear, and I also found her like just a nice energy when talking.
Lovely, thank you. Jared, are you with us? Silence as we wait. We'll come back to Jared.
He put his in the comments. Do you want me to read it?
Feedback, excited to hear Caitlin talk about more about apps in the future. She did well. No good deed goes unpunished. Nice. Kimberly and then Yeti. So Kimberly, what did you enjoy about Caitlin's talk?
That I wanted to get the app and play rugby.
Yeah.
Because she really sold it, which was good.
Nicely done, Kimberly. What very astute feedback. Good job. Yeti, what did you enjoy about Caitlin's talk?
So overall, she did great. Her posture, hand gesture, her energy, and the way she was telling the story, slow, poised, and it's very true. I didn't know what rugby detail game was, but I learned something. So you were excellent.
Awesome. Nice feedback. Thank you. So Caitlin, one of the things I asked at the beginning of this process is, what do you want your audience to think, do, or feel by the end of your session? And what you got was the outcome, which I think you're after, which is you want people to use the app, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Awesome. So you're almost there, which is really good. I had down a great tone, really nice, clear tone as well. I like the way you used to put a little bit of a personal story in there and also good hand signals. I'm going to suggest two things to you as well. Firstly, anytime there's a full stop in your note, pause. You speak quite quickly, which is okay to do as long as you give your audience time to catch up.
Yeah.
And speaking quickly is also, it makes people, it's quite a common thing when you start off, you're like, whoop, got to get through this as fast as humanly possible and then get me out of here and I can finish it. The problem with that is if your audience can't keep up, then you're losing them, and then they start looking at their phones and yawning or leaving, just that one time, and that makes you really distressed as a speaker. Okay, so if you are going to speak fast, which is okay to do, pause. So say, I'm just going to get you to do that again. So do your first sentence and then pause, and then do your second sentence.
Today I would like to...
One sec. When you pause, I want you to count to 3 in your head. Okay. Go.
Today, I would like to talk briefly about how we can manage our rugby team effectively using Rugby Explorer. This platform isn't just a formality, it's actually a powerful tool that helps us run the team smoothly, stay organised, and ultimately create a better experience for our players.
Excellent. Anyone hear the difference then? Okay. When you paused, it gives your audience time to catch up and go, oh, okay, there's a reason for me to listen. That's the first thing. The second thing is, when you're saying the three things, indicate what were the three things again in the second sentence?
It was, where did I go? A powerful tool, run smoothly, stay organized, and ultimately create a better experience.
Okay, so they're going to help you run smoothly, stay organized, and overall create a better experience. So
Okay.
indicating like that
Yep.
gives you much more power. It makes people really go, okay, those are the three things. I'm glad you chose three. That was a really powerful number. So great work, Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I think what we're going to do now is I'm going to leave Shannon and Kimberly for next time. So now you know what your standards are and what we're looking for. I'm going to use a few minutes now. See, now they're happy, cheerful souls, aren't they? Going to ask Erin to unmute, and I'm going to share Erin's experiences because she's just launched her book, and I think it would be really nice. No pressure, Erin. You don't have to speak. You do have to speak, but it's not like tell me everything. I'm going to ask you some questions, but I think it'd be really nice for us to hear from Erin about how that experience was for her and what she learnt and what she used. So first up, Erin, congratulations. You are now a published author. I bought your book. So
Danielle, thank you.
very welcome. I'm looking forward to reading it actually over the Easter break. So tell us about, and I know there were some technical hitches, which there always are. Tell us about when you were first on camera. What was your experience? How did you feel?
Sick to my stomach.
Yep.
Yeah, like this buzzing energy that was just circulating, as well as just didn't feel like it sort of felt like I wasn't sort of here as well. It was sort of a bit surreal, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
body experience.
And what is it that you think gave you the biggest advantage from the training that we've been doing together? What do you think was the thing that was the most useful to you during that conversation you had on Zoom?
Definitely the teleprompter
Mm-hmm.
from your advice, and other sort of technical things that you were able to help me with or support me with to make sure that I had what I needed. Like that was really important. Going into it, I felt more confident than what I would have. Obviously, the pause, as hard as it was to do, I'm pretty sure I did it quite well. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I think I did it well. That was obviously the biggest, like I don't sort of go, oh, that's amazing, the pauses and stuff like that. But I know that I did it, and I know that it would have made a difference. And I think that was definitely the biggest. And slowing down. Obviously, I ran through things really quickly when I first was working with you. And then the last time I did it really slowly. And then you're like, okay, speed up just a little bit. And I was like, oh my God. So just speed up a little bit in between and keep the pauses. So I was like, but I think, that was really good, because obviously speed is very important, and to have the right speed for the right sort of atmosphere that you're sort of creating.
Nice. Nice. And what is it that you have identified? If you were to pick two things that you wanted to
Actually,
work on going forward.
before you say anything else, looking at the camera, that was, when I think about it, that was the biggest thing. And I'm even doing little bits of it now. But looking at the camera was the biggest. That was the biggest. Yes.
Nice. And just to put that into context, Erin and I had like her moving all around the room with the camera, and I was taking screenshots saying, this is what I can see. And she's like, no, I'm looking over here at you. I know you're looking at me, but you're not looking at the camera. So that was a fun exercise. I kept those screenshots, Erin, so that, in sort of 6 to 12 months time, when you're on stage talking to thousands of people, you'll be able to go, oh, I remember that. I keep everything. Awesome. So going forward, because this is the start of your career as an influential speaker and helping people with codependency, what is it that are the two things that you would next like to work on with your speaking skills?
So you're not talking about topic, you're talking about how I present.
Yes.
Yep, deliver. So I would like to obviously be able to talk more organically about things, not like memorize them or not have them up on teleprompters. So that would be that's key, and also to bring me out. So to have me there, like I know I'm the biggest seller. You know, me just being me is enough. But obviously on stage, like, you know, not a lot of me comes out.
Yeah.
So they're my two wants or focuses.
All right, so they're terrific goals, and that's something that I am going to ask each of you to do in a moment. I'm actually going to ask you to think about particularly those people who've already done their talks, and also for those people who haven't done their first exercise yet. I want you to think about what's the one or two things that you really want to work on as far as your talk is concerned. And think about what these things might be, and they'll be different for everybody. But the idea is that instead of thinking, I'm shit and I need to get better, or I can't do this, it's so overwhelming, or I'm really nervous, I want you to think about one or two things that you can do to take another step along the pathway of becoming a confident communicator and public speaker. Not I'm here and I'll never be there, but what's the first or second step that you want to take? So I want you to think about that and take a moment now and actually go into the Vocal Power community and record that, please. Just write down what those things are. And the reason I want you to do this is because when you make a public statement like that in the community, it gives you focus, because you know then that they're the two things you want to concentrate on, which means it's also likely that when you do your speaking, other people are going to be looking for those things to see if you are working on them successfully. So it's a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So think about what the one or two things are, just the one or two little steps right in front of you, nothing big. It might be some of the feedback we talked about today. It might be something completely different. Pop it in the community saying, the two things I want to concentrate on next are, and just do a general post. And when you've done that, please pop a done into the chat for me. Put the little heading in the chat there so that you can copy that if you want to. Well, somebody's already gone in first. Who is it? Let me see. Shannon. Speedy Gonzalez. Shannon wants to focus on slowing down when she speaks and confidence. Excellent. So I'm going to ask you a question to think about, Shannon. What does confidence look like or not look like? So think about that, because describing confidence as a thing is quite a big, big pie. So you want to break it down into a small slice. Make it something that's easy to identify. Great work being first in there for that, Shan. Well done.
So yes, and thank you. I missed what you said last, Dan. For some reason, my sound went, but I can hear you now.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, I said
apologise.
just break it down. So if you were to say, what does lack of confidence look like to you, what would it be?
Oh, look, literally the whole thing, the whole idea of standing up in front of people and talking, I'm putting that down to being the fear of
Yep.
doing that is
What does it
about my
look
lack
like,
of
though?
confidence.
Think about what it looks like specifically. When you think about standing up in front of, 100 and something people at the summit, what comes to mind immediately? What's the thing that immediately comes to mind?
Oh, it's fear.
Fear. And what does that look like in your body? What does it feel like?
I feel sick, my mouth's dry, my legs shake. It's
Yep.
really attractive.
Awesome. I will take your mouth dry, your leg shake, and I'll add a sweat moustache and armpit drip. I understand completely. What are you thinking then? What's going in through your head when you think about standing on stage in front of all those people, microphone in hand, eyes like saucers, looking at the sea of faces staring back at you?
I just want to not be there. Or
Yep.
if I have to be there, I want it over and done with real fast.
What's going through your head? What are you thinking? Name your thoughts. So this is a really important exercise for everybody. Saying what you want is different to saying how you feel and what you're thinking, because it's an unnamed fear. Until you name it, it becomes this hidden under the bed monster or stuck in the closet monster. So it's really important that we actually name our fears.
Looking ridiculous or
Looking stupid. Excellent, Shan. Excellent. Okay. So now, perhaps instead of confidence, now that you've named one of those fears, you can say, what I want to do is, or the next steps I want to concentrate on, not so much confidence, but what's the opposite of looking stupid?
looking confident or appearing confident, looking
Feeling
clever, like you own it.
Yep. Feeling like you should be there, feeling like you belong.
Yeah, that's
okay.
probably more it, feeling like you belong.
Yep. So instead of putting in their confidence, why don't you put in there that you want to have a feeling that you belong? Does that
Okay.
make sense? Everybody see how that
It-
process works? Because confidence will be different things to different people. For me, it's making sure I have a deodorant that doesn't make me sweat. It's making sure I reduce the sweat moustache. And here's a little tip. If you've got this delightful, like, hairy lip, it makes the sweat cling to it like droplets, very attractive. So it's nice to get a wax beforehand. Pro tip for you right there. So when you can identify the fear and name it, it becomes much less overpowering and overwhelming, because the unknown, the lack of certainty, is what absolutely kills us, because until we can cage it in with parameters, it just is allowed to free roam. So naming your fears and being very specific is a great way to overcome them. All right, so let's have a look and see what everybody else put in. Has everyone done the sessions in there? Shannon's done, Caitlin's done, Neve's done, Kimberly's done, Erin, Jared. You guys done yours? Let's make sure we've got them in. Now, the reason
What was it? Sorry. Was it a goal?
Yeah. In the community, the next two things you want to focus on in your speaking skills are, I put it a little further up on the chat. So Kimberly says, actually speaking in public, being a valued speaker with great content. Awesome. I would suggest that you think about specific things and what that looks like to you, Kimberly. What's the result? So what is it? Tell me what, so actually speaking in public is very easy, good. What is a valued speaker with great content? That's a big step. So what's the first step towards that? What would that look like to you? So have a think about that.
I guess having the confidence to speak with what I know, like know that I know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Okay. So how will you know that you know what you're talking about?
I don't until I do it, I guess.
Okay, that's a little bit like saying, won't know if I can drive my car until I get in the car and drive and either crash or don't crash. Let's do some prep. So if you know that you know, what have you done to know that you know? How did you get to the point where you know that you know?
Well, I'm doing this course so that I know that I can do it.
Excellent. So you've proven it to yourself, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's what I'm saying. In terms of being specific, so being a valued speaker with great content, knowing that you know your content is what you're really saying. Is it?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So your next steps are speaking in public and knowing my content well.
Yes.
And I am going to rein you all in on this, because it's really important you get laser focused, because we throw words like confidence and valued, but they have no meaning unless you give them some very specific definition and description. So perhaps you could edit that one to something along the lines of what we just discussed, Kimberly, that resonates with you. Neve says she wants to focus on having more fun with it. And doing your booty shaking to get out your adrenaline. Nice, like that. So enjoying it, and I think that comes to what Erin was saying about bringing in your personality. Great. Caitlin wants, and the thing is, you guys have had the opportunity to hear from some of the coaching I've given the others, so it's always going to incrementally improve as we go forward. Caitlin, 2 things you want to work on: taking a pause where there's a full stop in her speech. That's a great idea. Not being a fidgety, being more aware of what we're doing with your hands. I'm actually writing a little training session on that right now, Caitlin, about the power of body language and what to do. So that's nice and relevant. Shan wants to concentrate on slowing down when you speak and confidence, which looks like what? Don't forget to put in there, Shan, that looks like something specific. Looking like
I have
belong.
edited. I did
Yeah,
edit
great.
it.
I did refresh. Looking like I belong. Maybe feeling like you belong is probably a better way of putting that.
Okay, I shall edit again.
Awesome. Okay, we've got 2 new ones in there. Erin, having fun and shaking your bottom beforehand. Excellent. You know, out of the 4 days of the Tony Robbins event that I did, that was the thing I wrote down about 20 times. Ass shake, ass shake, ass shake. You know, it's 4 days well spent. But it is a ridiculously powerful way. And I used to do star jumps and calisthenics, which is quite tricky, but this actually moves your whole body, which is really powerful. Yeti is going to go slow and confidence. Again, same thing, Yeti. What does confidence really look like? So come up with a description of what that would look like for you. Jared says, I want to focus on where to look in a room full of people. That's a great step. Feeling like I awkwardly look at no one or 1 or 2 people, and being calmer and more relaxed. Hand placement and actions. That's some next level up skills there. But Jared has already spoken on stage internationally, so he's going to have slightly different skill requirements than, yes, he has. Heron's face, really? Yes, he was in Washington and spoke on stage at an event that we were at there. So he's already been exposed, as it were. Hated it, but it was good. So we might just take a minute, Jared, and get you to unmute yourself and tell us about that experience in, say, 2 sentences, short sentences.
Yeah. I feel like the hardest part was I made a joke and no one laughed except for one person in the crowd. And that was pretty funny, like after the fact. But yeah, so speaking on a stage full of people, is quite a different experience. So I did it once at a small event and then once at a larger event. The larger event, the one thing that was sort of took me back, that was a bit confronting, was the bright lights that were in my face. Yeah, it felt a bit like really in your face, and that's where I wasn't sure to look either, and I was trying to find where to look. But yeah, so I think once I was up there on stage and I just started to talk, everything just sort of flowed. And I even feel like when I did it on stage, I did not say exactly what I said when I was practicing, but what actually happened was what I said was better. So one thing I would say before is it's good to practice, but don't over practice, because if you over practice, you'll probably end up just stressing yourself out and making it harder. Yeah, that was the advice that Danny gave me before. It was to just stop practicing and just go and do it. And then I did, and it was better than when I was practicing. So yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Jared. Great work. So it's good to have that experience behind you as well. So the way that I've designed this program to help people become confident public speakers is there are 3 pillars to it. Anyone know what those 3 pillars are? The 3 Ps? So it's preparation, practice, and performance. So preparation is what we are actively engaged in here. The preparation is what we're actively engaged in. We've just started to move into the actual practice. And then the third element is the performance, where you actually start to incorporate things like body language and delivering your talk, assessing it like we've done with Erin and Jared today, and prepping for the next time that we do that conversation. So those are 3 separate pillars, but they do overlap, because before you can practice, you have to have prepared, but part of your practice is actually reviewing what you've prepared and editing it. And then when you're performing it, then you've got to go back and say, all right, that kind of practice worked well for me, but I need to practice this piece again to make it all work. So that's where we are with that. Awesome. So Kimberly says, so you can over practice. Let me share with you, Kimberly, what was happening. So we had the GM of UK and Jared both frantically rehearsing their speeches for the next day. And I'm looking at both of them going, okay, all they're doing is psyching themselves up into a terrible state of anxiety and stress. So this is the day, like the night before the actual event where they both had to speak on stage. That was the reason for me saying, you know this now, don't practice it anymore. Because what happens when we practice, just before we finish up today, what happens when we practice, we generally start from the beginning and practice, and then we'll stop, and then we'll go back to the beginning, and then we'll practice, and we'll stop, and we'll go back to the beginning. But what we often don't practice very well is the end. So what I said was just practice your start and practice your end, and that's it. Because you want your start to roll off your tongue so that you feel confident, and you want the end to be strong because that's what people will remember at the end, what you've said first and last. So yes, you can over practice if you're doing it right, if you're trying to cram everything in at the last minute. Yeah. So yeah, Jared says he was trying to make it perfect and was just stressing him out more. So yeah, there is a way to practice, and I'm going to teach you the best way to practice as we go through. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to ask you in a moment what you found most valuable today. We are a little over time today because we are on a break for the next couple of weeks. So there are no sessions next week or the week after for those people watching the recording. We don't go looking for it because it won't be there. So we'll resume again on the 7th of May at 11 a.m., at which point we'll have Kimberly and Shannon share with us their little talks. And then we will do some more content after that, and we're going to start looking at some next stage stuff, how we can actually lift it up with powerful openings, powerful closings, weaving stories in, that kind of thing. So we're going to quick run around what you found most useful today, please. So let's start with Kimberly and then go to Jared. So Kimberly, what did you find most useful today?
There was probably a few things that you can over practice. Being good on the camera and talking to the camera, not to the sheet, the iPad. So yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you, Jared. And then Erin. So Jared, what did you find most useful today?
I think it was good hearing some more people have a practice run for the talking, which was good. And I feel like as well the shared experiences was good. It was good to hear what Erin went through in her talk and stuff and her success, which was cool. That makes it exciting for what we're doing. But yeah, I think ultimately hearing Yeti and Caitlin do the talk was really good for me because I was like, wow, they're actually a lot better than like I originally expected. So I was quite impressed because Caitlin was talking like oh, she's not, that really doesn't really like doing it or whatever, and she come out and like smashed it, and then Yeti's as well was really good. So I was a bit in and out, but I just wanted to say that, yeah. So you guys smashed it, and I'm really excited where this group is going together. So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Jared. Erin and then Shannon. So Erin, what did you find most useful today?
I love the feedback on the presentations and looking for the good things. I think that that's a great thing for anything and everything, looking at the positives. So I love that. And I also liked learning about Jared's experience, and yeah, very, very impressive. And just out of curiosity, Jared, if I can just ask, was this for work that you were doing it, and what was the topic? Because I've come in late.
Yeah, so it was for work, and it was on the business I work for has a members portal app and automations. So that was what the talk was about. Yeah, it was quite
Right,
fun.
okay.
Yeah.
So it was
Awesome.
it was in another country, so there are language issues, even though it's an English-speaking country, there are language issues. So he's done very well. Yeah.
Okay. Very impressive.
Awesome. Thank you, Erin. Shannon and then Caitlin. So Shannon, what did you find most useful for you today?
I really enjoyed Yeti and Caitlin's talks, and I got a lot out of the feedback, which it's probably a little unfair, but now I'm changing mine, and I did it last time as well, because for instance, I'm totally changing my talk because it's currently really factual, and I find it really hard to put myself in the position of the audience member and think, is that actually interesting? And I don't think it is. It's interesting to me because I'm passionate about the topic, but I am now going to take some time to try and make it a bit more personal and use my own experience, which changes the
Right.
whole thing, to be honest. But anyway,
does,
we've got
doesn't it?
time. It really
Yeah.
does. So yeah, thank you for that. But I also would really love to know, if we can, Erin's book title, so we may access that, if that's okay.
Absolutely. I'll put it on school as well, but it's called Beyond Dependence. So there's
It's on
four
Amazon.
authors. Yeah, on Amazon. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. Thanks for asking, Shannon.
It's okay. Very interested.
Excellent. Thank you. Good feedback, Shan. I think that's really important observations. And this will happen because this is not the one and done scenario, ladies and gentlemen. This is not us going, oh, done that speaking thing. Let's move on. What's next? This is going to be a regular occurrence. Thank you for that expression, Caitlin. And Kimberly, breathe. It's like learning to drive. Remember, we don't just take one lesson and like, we're done with that. Now I know how to drive. We're just actually going to do it on a regular basis. So each time you've got to learn from each other, and that's the power of doing this kind of group coaching scenario. So I was very astute to understand that, Shannon. Well done. Caitlin, then Yeti.
I got the most out of everybody's feedback today because I get a little bit like, oh, nobody's going to be interested in that. Or I do a lot better once I just get up there, get everything out of my head and do it. So it was nice to hear everybody's feedback with everything.
Great, thank you. Yeti and then Neve to finish. So Yeti, what did you find most useful today?
I like the way
Oh, did I already ask you, Yeti?
No, you didn't.
Okay. Great,
Okay.
sorry, go ahead. Yep.
So I like the way you give every one of us a feedback, because from that we are learning. You are not criticizing. So indirectly you are inspiring us. You are teaching us for the next talk. And of course, Jared, I was there hearing your speech at the summit. You were good because you knew what you were talking about, the software. So he was good, even if though it was your first time, you were excellent. And everybody today, there's so much I learned. I'm so grateful. A lot of encouraging, a lot of lifting up. Thank you so much, everybody.
Lovely. Thank you, Yeti. I'd forgotten you'd seen that speech. That's cool because Yeti's in the US, Erin, so and Kimberly, so she was there. Awesome. And lucky last, Neve, what did you find most useful today?
I definitely think, even though I've heard you say it before, the stuff about getting out all your adrenaline before talks. And I don't know if I heard it from you or from Tony Robbins or someone, but basically fear is just the same thing as needing to get adrenaline out. I don't know how to word that, but basically, like, if you can try and get as much of that adrenaline out before you go in, you're going to be less likely to have that adrenaline during your talk. So
Yes.
I thought that was really valuable.
Awesome. Thank you. And you guys, if you've I know some of you have actually seen me before I speak on stage or on camera. I do a lot of that jumping up and down beforehand. You probably wondered why. That's why, because I want to get that adrenaline out, because I still get nervous when I start talking as well. And my nerves also manifest as breathlessness, which is you're about to open your mouth and talk to people, can be a bit of a challenge. So I'm like, look, just give me a bit of CPR and I'll be in business. So if you want to start strong, that's not a great way of doing it. So that's one of the things that I've learned, to get some of that adrenaline out before I start. So I'm glad that's resonated with people as well. Fantastic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to reconvene on the 7th of May at 11 a.m. when we'll hear from Kimberly and Shannon, and we will go through and move into the next stage of this process as we start to put these talks together. So Kimberly, just to clarify, you are doing the same one that you're doing at the event in July, right? Beautiful. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, so wherever you are, everybody have a wonderful, great long weekend. If you're in Australia, we're going into the Easter long weekend, so have a wonderful holiday, and I will look forward to seeing you guys all in 2 weeks' time. So have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and bye for now, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Everybody
everyone.
have Easter.